Sadie, you are a phenom in a little bitty town in Texas called Round Top, where your mom and dad work so hard and you're out there on the floor too at Royers, just being just a breath of fresh air, so delightful. And I remember there a couple years ago, you're like, you're trying to become an actress, and we all want to help you become an actress. And now at age 14, you're an actress, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Unbelievable performance. I was going to go to Royers the other night, and mom's like, no, we're going to go see Sadie in a production at Unity Theater in Brenham, The Crucible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's an intense play, my friend.
Very. It's super heavy, but it's been so amazing to do because things like that usually aren't my forte. I'm a very like comedic kind of person. So doing something like that was definitely a change of pace, but I feel like it was also just helping me more and it
Mhm.
turned out so amazing.
It was unbelievable. Could you? I was looking up the word crucible, not the literal, but the actual event that happens when someone's pushed to the extreme. Explain the concept of this play by Arthur Miller.
So it's all about the Salem witch trials in Massachusetts in the 1600s. And it's all mass hysteria. So one person believes something that isn't true and it just spreads like wildfire. And then all of a sudden there's different stories and there's different branches. And it's like a just like it starts with one like tree trunk and it branches off in so many different directions to where you're trying to find who the real accused is and who's actually guilty, but the person who was guilty just got away with it. So many people were affected and it just spiraled and to the point where you couldn't really find a point of origin. And it's all just about how it grew and grew and the effect that it came out of it. And it's pretty insane, honestly.
It was intense. The acting was superb. Bob and I absolutely loved it. Tickets totally affordable. Unity Theater is a great gem in Brenham. I love it so much. And I have to ask you, Sadie, because I know mom said that you just love being up on stage. That is most people's absolute fear to be on stage. So what did this? How did you become so joyful in your presence on stage and speaking in public? What was it?
Well, I've always been a people person. I feel like growing up, whenever I was always at the cafe and my dad was always saying, "Hey, meet these people." And, "Oh, hey, these people have seen mom's posts on Facebook and they want to meet you," or things like that. I was very like, I didn't grow up not social. I was always talking. I'm such a social butterfly. I love everything about it. And my first production at Unity, whenever I was 5, I loved being able to entertain people like that, and it was something just sparked in me, and it just made me feel so happy that I didn't have to worry about myself in that moment, and it was just whoever was on stage, and I could just leave it all on stage and made people happy, and I loved every aspect of that.
Isn't
So
that so
definitely
funny? I just love that because I love to be on radio. I did exactly what your mom and dad would do with my daughter. I've got 5 kids, 4 boys and 1 girl. Danielle, come and meet this person and me. Do you know she hated when I did that? She is so shy. She dreaded those moments when I would drag her into like a social setting. She just wanted to go behind the scenes and hang out. And so now she's got 4 kids. She's a stay-at-home mom who does homeschooling very quietly.
Mhm.
However, Sadie, her 13-year-old was just in a high school musical, one of the Schoolhouse Rock. They did a Schoolhouse Rock production.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I love Schoolhouse Rock. I was in a production of that 3 years ago.
So now, what role did you play? I mean, I don't know if it's like a script that schools use, but Emma did the Elbow Room song.
Oh my gosh. So I was Interplanet Janet.
Oh, I can see me, Interplanet Janet. Yes.
My director, who I was great friends with, he said, "Can you dance?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Perfect." And I was like, I don't really know what that means, but it was such a fun role. I loved it.
That is excellent. It's just so funny, the joy that you bring us in the audience. And it's so obvious that you're experiencing joy as well. Now, I have to ask you before we go on to what your future holds, what would you say to kids who, kids have to do reports where they have to stand up in front of the class? Maybe they want to do a spring production or they're thinking about doing theater in the fall. What advice would you give them to kind of get them started, at least thinking about it?
Um, as far as talking in front of people goes,
Yeah, just to get out of your comfort zone. What if you're ever, and maybe you're never nervous, maybe you never get nervous, but I'm sure you've spoken to maybe actors who have gotten nervous and you might offer a little bit of advice.
yes. So for me, the biggest deal is number one, creating your own world around it. And because that makes it much easier for an actor to do if you're not worried about what people are thinking, but rather what your character is thinking in that moment. And basically putting up four walls to where the audience isn't even there, if you know what I mean, just
Yeah.
creating a whole reality around it. You're going to bring the lines on the page up to life and you won't have to worry about the audience as much, and that just kind of goes into it. And another thing is leaving it on the stage, which people say is if you make a mistake or if something doesn't go correct, leave it on the stage because 99% of the time nobody in the audience is going to know, and it's only you who's going to know. But if you're so worried about that, if you're so worried about messing up, it's going to lead to more mess ups. So if you just stay, don't worry about the outside world, worry about what's going on right now and leave it on the stage, and it all just goes so smoothly.
That is amazing. I
That's
love
worked for
that
me.
advice. I love the four, build your little reality around you. That is
Yes,
so
exactly.
good. Now, how do you memorize your lines?
Ooh, so some people are like, "Oh, well, there's a method." I just kind of read it over and over again.
Okay. There
And
are apps. I know a lady who told me there are actually apps that help you memorize lines.
yes, I so excuse me. For memorizing lines, I'm also looking at cues because your cues help your lines.
Okay. Hmm.
It'll make more sense if you look at how you're responding and then you're like, "Oh, so that line would go there because it's a more correct response." And also just plenty of rehearsals and getting used to the groove, adding movements with your lines helps connect them, and things like that usually. But it kind of depends. Just
Do
a
you
lot of
write do you write them out all the time or do you just read them over and over?
it depends. I'll write them down sometimes if I'm struggling a lot, but usually I just kind of go over them again and again.
Do you walk around the house? Do you do the dishes, memorizing your lines, things like that?
I'll s
Dishes. You don't do no dishes.
Okay, Dad. I'll
That's
usually be
that's
in my
JB
room.
from Royers right back there.
Yep, that's my dad. Usually I'll be in my room and I'll just be holding my script and I'll add movement. I'll stand like next to my bed and set my script down and see how far I can go adding movement and adding things to help me connect the lines with something that I'm doing and kind of do that out over and over again. Or I'll say them out loud whenever I'm walking through the halls at school or things like that, like in my head or, you know.
That is so cool. Now I have to ask you, since Dad's there, what's your favorite thing to get at Royers that everyone makes?
Oh my gosh.
Like
Well,
everything.
I love the shrimp BLT.
Okay.
That one's just amazing for me. The only thing is whenever you bite into it, it all falls out the other
But that's
side.
what makes it so amazing, right? All right, now you can either work with Dad and Mom at Royers Cafe in Round Top, or you can continue your passion project, which is acting. What's it going to be, Sadie?
Well, this is where we're gonna take a sharp turn left. Um, I don't want to do either in my future, actually. I want to be an aerospace engineer, which I know, it's shocking. It's shocking. That's what I tell people. They're always like, "Oh, well, you're doing so great as an actor. Where do you want to go to college?" Oh, well, I want to go major in engineering somewhere. And I think that that definitely shocks people sometimes. Um,
What
outright.
was it? Like what got you in that direction?
Well, I had always loved as a kid taking things apart and trying to put them back together, or trying to, what can I create to make this easier or this better? Or how can I solve this problem with certain things that I had? I would take little plastic toys apart and put them back together and try and see how they would work or change them or what would happen if I changed things like that. And also the thing is I've always loved designing things like that. But acting, I could see in my future, like, still doing theater and Broadway if I get there. It's very, the industry is very difficult,
Mhm, mhm.
and it's very hit or miss because you could go so long without booking something, and it kinda gets your hopes down, which is definitely, like, not super stable. So
Right,
you
right.
also have to kinda look at that side, but I will never quit theater. I wanna do certain things, yes, but I don't think I would ever quit doing a local play or things like that because I still love it.
That
That's
is
just, like,
amazing.
rooted in me.
You're a lucky young lady to have a future in, something that's a little more stable, but still exciting for you. And then have this outlet to really show your creative side, singing and dancing. And you did you go to LA and take acting lessons? Or have you just been here locally learning?
I was a part of an agency for 2 years, and we flew out to LA for 10 days and performed with, our scene partner, 4 agents and managers who were stationed in LA, and Um, that's what we did for those 10 days, and we practiced for about a year. The first year I did it, COVID hit, so I had to take it another year, which was
Wow.
just helping me even more, honestly. Um, but that was also based for film, and I something about film, I just feel like, live is just bigger
Mhm,
in
mhm.
terms of emotion and passion for me, and I love being able to be live in front of people, and I think that's why I kind of dropped off film side
Yeah.
and went towards live and more Broadway-like things.
Right, right. You get that energy from the audience, right?
Yes,
Yes. It's
exactly.
amazing.
It's
Amazing. Now, let
so
me
amazing.
ask you your ideal role. If you could have any role, who would you want to be?
Oh my gosh. This is such a hard question out of all the questions you asked.
Top three.
Ooh, okay. Ooh, gosh. Well, I love Hamilton. So I
Oh,
definitely think, like, Eliza, she's
hmm.
one role, I love her so much.
So good. You
Ooh,
never know. This could come into reality. So
yes, I
do it.
know. Um, I was just in The Little Mermaid, and being Ursula would definitely be so much fun,
Fun.
honestly. I
Yes,
love
yes.
her role. Um, and oh my gosh, and in a little musical called Come From Away, being in any role in that would definitely be genuinely amazing.
Is that based on a book, Come From Away?
No, it's based on the planes that were diverted to Newfoundland during 9/11. And
Wow.
it's about the community coming together and growing and the relationships that came out of it. My parents saw it in New York, and we've loved it ever since, and it is so amazing.
That's incredible. Well,
Any role
you
would probably be amazing.
You are just, I have to share this with you because I'm learning. Not only are you educating our viewers, but I am in a community theater. You know the little town of Belleville,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? The church there. I'm playing a washed up actress, and my husband is playing another washed up actor. We were really good back in the day, but now there's my son is playing the current leading man and another girl, and she is so mean to me in the play. She's
Oh
so
my
mean to
gosh.
me. And she's the nicest girl. She says, Dana, I told my kids I don't know how to be mean to people. So I have to be mean to her so she can be mean back to me. What advice do you give to someone trying to get into a role? What do you do? Like, because I know you're a sweet, happy girl, and yet you had to be like pretty intense in Crucible.
Yes. Oh, that's, oh my gosh.
I guess that's just part of acting, huh?
Pretty much. But also, like, forgetting about, I don't want to say forgetting who you are, but if you know what I mean, like, really going into the role and not worrying about, oh, am I gonna hurt this person's feelings? But the better, um, what's the word that I'm looking for? The better reactions that you give them will also help them give different things back to you.
Yes.
So it's easier to bounce off of other characters if you have to be mean to someone and they have to be mean to you. Well, they're a whole 50% of that, if not more.
Right.
So you have to be able to like bounce off of their energy, if you know what I
That's
mean.
that's an excellent and I will tell her that. I have no problem being mean. I mean, I had 5 kids, so I can be mean, but she is a sweet lady. And so I thought, well, maybe if I'm mean to her and just kind of like bust her chops a little bit, she's going, I just feel so much better being mean to you now.
Exactly. It helps the other person loosen up for sure.
Yes.
So they're
It's
not
such a
so
fun
worried about, you
It's a
know.
community. You're all kind of a little bit uncomfortable and you all come together and you practice and you learn things about each other. I just think it's one of the most fun experiences and you got to learn it at a much younger age and I just think it gives you such a sense of confidence, doesn't it?
I love the being on stage. Yes, it helps my confidence so much. It makes me so happy. Right after I get off stage, I have that big serotonin boost and I'm just all bright and whatever. I'll go into school. The show was amazing. And
Yes, yes.
I can't be knocked off
Well,
that
hold on. Do you go back to Royers Cafe and get some lemon blueberry pie with bluebell on top?
oh, I wish.
That's what I would do. I'd get so excited. I'd be like, we've got to go have pie now. Well, so what are you going to do next? Is there a play that you're practicing right now, rehearsing for?
No, but I am rehearsing for the International Thespian Society Nationals in June. My best friend and I, we both brought a duet musical of Sisters from White Christmas for a performance for judges. We got a 23 out of 24 rating
Ah,
and we got moved to nationals. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on now that The Little Mermaid and The Crucible is slowly starting to end.
that is amazing. So, could you do a little bit? Is Dad there? Is he prompting you to remember something else?
Oh, and then I'll also hopefully be auditioning for the Tuts Education musical in Houston.
Love Tuts. We do theater under the stars all the time. Could you
Yes.
give me a little preview of your sister's performance for the Thespians?
Okay, I don't have my other duet here with
I
me.
know.
Let me see.
It's getting them.
Sisters, sisters, there were never such devoted sisters. Never had to have a chaperone, no sir. I'm here to keep my eye on her, caring, sharing every little thing that we are wearing. When a certain gentleman arrived from Rome, she wore the dress and I stayed home.
And you're 14.
Yes, ma'am.
That you are great, love. I love the joy that you have, and I hope a lot of people watching this really get what you're trying to do, and might want to consider doing a little bit of maybe community theater and beyond. Singing, a little dancing definitely brings joy to you. I know it does. You're a delight, honey. We'll be watching for you, and I will see you at Royers for some pie one day, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you
And
so
give
much.
give your dad a big hug.
I will.
Okay.